Hello, my church family. You are not looking at my face during this portion of the meditation because my fireplace seemed to be the perfect background for what I'm going to describe for us tonight. I chose this setting because of the year we have had, and especially the recent forest fires that have raged across the Northwest and have been filling our skies with smoke. These fires made me think of an appropriate analogy in our continued care for our hearts and minds during this year. I've sent some pictures to Pastor Alice to show that I do know a thing or two about fighting wildfires. I spent my summers earning money for college, fighting wildfires on an engine crew. Please don't ask me how long ago this was. And so I thought this would help bring to mind a metaphorical comparison to what all of us have been experiencing. So in describing the initial attack on a wildfire, which means the very first people to show up to the fire can have a firefighter working up to 36 hours straight before being pulled off of the fire line. Weather and the unpredictability of a wildfire requires that the crew be ready for any scenario, including running for safety. In comparison, the first 4 months of the COVID-19 pandemic was our initial attack. There were a lot of unknowns, adrenaline, fighting metaphorical fires, and running for safety. We have survived, and maybe at times we feel like we have the pandemic under some containment, and containment is the word used for bringing the fire under control. However, no matter what kind of control there could be or within a fire, only 20% of firefighting is that exciting adrenaline pumping experience of flames and smoke and heat in front of you. It's actually the other 80% that is spent called mopping up the fire. And this means gritting through the burned area to expose and cool the hot spots that are left so that the fire doesn't restart. It's not as sensational and dramatic as the pictures that Pastor Alice may have shown or that you've seen on the news, but it is the most important part of the work of firefighting. We are now in the mop-up stage of COVID-19. While the fire and its effects are not raging at this time, or maybe felt in the distance, the pandemic has continued to smolder in the background of our lives and within our hearts, minds, and spirits. So it is now the time that we must do the less exciting work of methodically gritting through our emotional and spiritual well-being. This takes intention and knowing that it's up to each individual to do their own, quote, mop up. On my fire crew, I was given an area to grid and to work through. I was given tool, training, and I knew when to ask for help from the rest of the team. As individuals within this amazing church, it is up to each one of us to delve into our own hot spots in our souls and to choose to build our compassion muscles, whether the cause is COVID-19, the election results, or general life stress. Our very capable pastors and our amazing church family can provide tools, training, and a space to ask for help. But we must keep in mind that there is no one who can make me resilient or do the work to grid through the smoldering pieces of my heart and soul but me. In transparency, church family, I have been trying different things to care for myself because my usual coping methods this year has not been enough. I am tired and burned out. I've continued my counseling that I started through my employee assistance program. I take time for myself. I go for walks and hikes and I exercise. But I haven't found it to be enough. I started journaling, which surprised me with how much it's helped this year because I have always hated it. I'm also getting acupuncture once a week and I just started a music therapy group for healthcare workers. I write and say all this about fighting fires and what I've been trying to do in coping as encouragement, solidarity, and to remind everyone that the toughest and most important work is actually the mop-up stage in gritting through the burned over areas. So I invite you to take a moment and to ask yourselves, what continues to smolder as a result of COVID-19 and being in this year of 2020 of unknowns and unpredictability? Ask yourself, how can I address these spots and who can I ask for help? Thank you for being an amazing church family, and I appreciate you listening to this meditation. Hey Calvary, the magic of technology. As we were just at night and looking at a fireplace, and now we are in beautiful, sunny fall day of Colorado. I wanted to transition this time for a different kind of conversation. I want to start with reading a poem from one of my favorite authors. The mind of time is hard to read. We can never predict what it will bring, nor even from all that is already gone can we say what form it finally takes. For time gathers its moments secretly. Often we only know it's time to change when a force is built inside the heart that leaves us as uneasy as we are. Perhaps the work we do has lost its soul, or the love where we once belonged calls nothing alive in us anymore. We drift through this gray, increasing nowhere, until we stand before a threshold we know we have to cross to come alive once more. May we have the courage to take the step into the unknown that beckons us. Trust that richer life awaits us there, that will lose nothing but what has already died. Feel the deeper knowing in us of all that is about to be born beyond the pale frames where we stayed confined, not realizing how such vacant endurance was bleaching our soul's desire. The poem is called For the Time of Necessary Decision. As to my church family, I have to tell you that I have decided to move back to Idaho and to be near my family. I've accepted a chaplain job there, and it's really hard to tell all of you because you've been my family for 8 years. You will continue to be. I'm not just going to cut you all off, and I hope you guys don't do the same. It was so important for me 8 years ago to move here from Connecticut and to find so much belonging into the beauty of this community. To be ordained in 2013, to build the Theology Pub community with Andrew Dougherty, to receive the immense support through my cancer surgeries in 2015 and my traumatic brain injury recovery since then. There's so much that I cannot put into words in terms of gratitude and love that I have for each one of you. But I'm grateful for technology that will keep us in touch and our virtual church that will let me check in now and again. But I wanted to offer a moment of goodbye after the earlier meditation so that I could just let you know how much I love you and that I'll miss you. Thanks so much.